Hello everybody, how's it going? Today we're going to be doing another top 10 video. This one's going to be 10 makeup collections that I was so excited about. The hype was real, these were so exciting, so much amazingness, and I very clearly remember just being super excited about them. This actually was a really interesting one to research because before I film the video, I go through, pick what I want to use and try and find pictures and videos and all the things that I need for the video, to edit. And some of these collections I realized were so old. I didn't realize how old they were. When I was trying to find, I was Googling for pictures and things like that. Most of the pictures that I found were so small, like 200 pixels, so itty bitty, just because they're over 10 years old and you forget how young the internet really is. And so even 10 years ago when you're thinking about it, in hindsight, it's huge. This doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but just now that small of a picture would never work for anything. So let's get into it. These were the collections I was I remember being completely hyped for. The first of which is from MAC. Actually, quite a few of these are from MAC, but the first one is the Heatherette collection from MAC. This collection, oh my gosh. Okay, so was I working at MAC when this came out? Yes, I was working at MAC when this came out. This was back when packaging really played a big role in my life. So the packaging on collections was something that really, you didn't see that. You didn't see these custom collections come out from any brand that had different packaging than what you already, than what was the norm for the brand. And Heatherette really did that. It was this bright bubblegum pink packaging with super reflective gold in it. Everything was so bright and bold and totally my style. But Heatherette was just so cool, and I really remember being so excited for this collection to come out, and just the vibe of it was so fun. The internet was so excited, and it was just so cool. Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to do a really pretty look using Heatherette colors and stuff. I really think it was the first, if not definitely one of the first collections, like a makeup collection that I just wanted everything. And I will 100% say that it was for sure the main draw for it. For me was the packaging and just how unique and special it was. It was very different from how things are now, where there's 8,000 different palettes and there's new stuff being launched every single day. There's so many indie brands. Social media is just so much bigger now that it's really easy to find all sorts of things, and packaging is cool, but it doesn't play as much of a part. This was something that I had never seen before, and it was just so cool that I needed all of it, and I hoarded it all. The next one is another MAC collection, another one that I needed everything in it, and that was Barbie Loves Mac. Barbie Loves Mac, oh my gosh, I remember driving like 40 minutes to the mall that has the MAC store in Arizona, waiting in line with my friend for the store to open so that I could get the whole collection. I loved the Heatherette collection because of the packaging and all of that, but it wasn't something that I didn't know who Heatherette was. I didn't really know the backstory around it. I just liked it because it was bright and shiny and sparkly. Barbie Loves Mac was a different story. Obviously, I played with Barbies my entire childhood, for kind of my childhood, and then this new growing passion for makeup and loving MAC cosmetics so much, it was a no-brainer in my eyes. The eyeshadows had a stamp of Barbie's face silhouette. There was also a MAC Barbie, and she had a train case. Had to have her. I'm pretty sure that my Barbie is still at my mom's house, still in the packaging, completely untouched, so that's cool. 100% had to have that entire collection, and just, again, it was the packaging, it was the idea behind it. I mean, it's so interesting to me to see how very vastly different I am now than I was 10 years ago, and where it didn't matter what the colors were, it didn't matter if the colors worked for me, if I liked them, I made them work because I was excited about the collection. I was like, this is Barbie, I'm gonna make it work. Because I look at the colors now and I'm like, not that, But back then, oh my gosh, it was everything. So it was kind of cool to just how excited I was, and how cool it was to see a collection from my favorite makeup brand. This super cool, like top tier, MAC was everything in 2008, collaborating with Barbie. I just thought that was amazing. The next collection, and the last one I'm going to talk about from MAC, trust me, I could go on about MAC collections that I was super excited about for a very long time. But the last one I'm going to talk about from MAC on my list here is Sea Shock. Sea Shock was one of the first real rainbow collections that I remember ever coming out. It had all of these eyeshadows that were bright. It had a bright like lime green. It had this amazing juicy orange juice color. It had bright blues. It just had all of these amazing rainbow shades. That's been my jam since really I could first do makeup. That was my signature look in a lot of high school. So for there to be this collection where it's centered around these crazy bright colors was the coolest thing ever. And I had all the colors. That was definitely one where I felt so awesome, and it felt just so cool to see a collection that was really focusing in on that. I 100%, I spent so much money on MAC back in the day. Next on my list is the Urban Decay Electric Palette. It had been a long time since I'd seen any rainbow stuff, and this was one that when it came out, it was super exciting. I remember Urban Decay had to label it as a pressed pigment palette. They couldn't legally call it an eyeshadow palette. They even had to put not safe for the eyes because the pigments in it were not FDA approved. That's not to say that, you know, if you put it on your eyes were going to explode. Pigments might be legal, let's say in like Europe. They're totally fine in Europe, but because they're not approved for eye use in America, they have to call it a pressed pigment palette. Of course, I used it on my eyes, I'm totally fine, but it was just neat because it had all of these amazing blues and greens and pinks, and it just was such a change from what we had seen for a long time, especially from Urban Decay. I mean, Urban Decay really was founded on being very different from the norm. So, I mean, Urban Decay was founded when Clinique and Estee Lauder were like the main things as far as makeup goes. So Urban Decay really was meant to be like the punk rock child of the makeup industry. They didn't really have a collection that was as crazy as this, and so it was really exciting to see that come out. The next two collections on my list are from Sigma. The first one is the Creme De Couture palette. Oh my gosh, you guys, I was so hyped when this palette came out. This palette actually came out after the next palette I'm going to talk about, the Paris palette, just spoiler alert, but the Creme de Couture palette came out after that, but it was inspired by our trip to Paris. So the Creme de Couture palette was inspired by Lauderay and the macarons and just these bright, beautiful, like the displays in Lauderay are amazing. Everything looks just so clean and cute and just beautiful and delicious. So the idea was that the Creme de Couture palette was going to be like a box of macarons. I lived for this. I loved it because you were getting these very vivid pastels. You were getting almost neon pastels, which was something that I had never seen before. It was awesome to see these colors that looked soft but were so vibrant and bold. If I was going to see bright colors, they were going to be neon and very electric style, where the Creme de Couture was a 180, something that still is not really a big thing, where it was these just bold colors, but they were soft colors. It was something that was so completely different from anything that I had seen. I latched onto that and I loved that collection so much. And if you've been around for a long time, you know that because I did a lot of tutorials with it. I had so many people telling me that they bought it because of me. Still to this day, that collection is just so special to me. And it's still something that I don't see. I mean, you see a lot of very bright, vivid colors, but bright pastels, I don't think that that's something that we see very often at all. And that makes that collection even more special. The next one, as I mentioned, is the Sigma Paris palette. Of course I was going to be excited about this one. This was a collection that I helped collaborate on. I was brought to Paris with Sigma, with a whole bunch of other influencers. I just talked about this in my video yesterday. If you want to go check it out, that would be awesome. It's an Avengers tutorial. It's inspired by the Infinity Gauntlet. I really liked how it turned out, and I would really, really, really appreciate if you could go check it out. Just saying, please. This palette was incredibly special to me because I got to go to Paris, got to be inspired by everything, and create an eyeshadow shade for it. The color that I created for it is Versailles, and Versailles is inspired by the Palace of Versailles. There's so much gold in that palace, so the color was really to reflect how just beautiful Versailles is. And just that trip was just so memorable and such an amazing thing, and honestly, I think that the Paris palette might be the first YouTube or influencer collaboration with a brand that I can really think of, which was just an awesome thing to be a part of. Amazing! It was just such a good experience. Such a cool experience. The next thing on my list is the Naked Cosmetics Ivory collection. The Ivory collection was my first real introduction to duochromes, which are still, to this day, 10-ish years later, my favorite thing to add to any look. I don't think there is a look that I do that doesn't have some form of a duochrome in it. A white-based duochrome with a flash of color. And the Ivory collection was 100% the reason for that. It was a collection of loose pigments that were all white, and they had this flash of a bright shift in them. It was a white with a flash of gold, a flash of green, pink, orange, purple, green, everything. I love that collection so much because it really introduced me to that, and nobody else was doing it. Naked Cosmetics was 100% the first people doing the duochromes, especially at that level. When they came out with their pressed palette version, I mean, I use that today. I use that all the time. It is always in my arsenal, close by. Such a huge impact in my life, and something that I cannot tell you how much I talked for years. Everything used the Ivory collection, the Ivory collection, the Ivory collection. And it is still my go-to. If you've watched my videos, like, ever, you guys know that this little gem, this is the Ivory stack from Naked Cosmetics. And I think I use this in about 95% of tutorials that I do. I do it right here, like I have it right now. I'm telling you guys, I use it almost every day. So that one is the only thing in this whole list that has stayed strong and that I still use continuously 10 years later. Next up, we have the Love Lux Beauty duochromes. So yes, Naked Cosmetics 100% got me into duochromes. Love Lux Beauty is like Naked Cosmetics Ivory collection on steroids. I am constantly amazed by everything that Love Lux Beauty comes out with, and I just feel like their brand in general is one of my favorites lately, that just anytime they launch something, I'm like, what is it, what is it, what is it? And I get so excited. But I remember when I had first purchased their duochrome colors, and they were these gigantic, I still have it. I still have the original one right here. I remember getting these duochrome colors and just being completely blown away with the quality and just how it was so bright and vivid. The Ivory collection from Naked is great. It's definitely something that's a little bit more, I want to say, wearable. It's still amazing, but it's more muted than these Love Lux ones. These Love Lux ones are just like punch you in the face. Amazing. I use the Naked Cosmetics ones like on my cheeks a lot or a little bit in the inner corners, but if I want to just shove duochrome down your throat, Love Lux is where I'm going. Ugh, I love them. That collection was one that I was just so excited about when I got it, and it just blew my mind that my favorite Naked Cosmetics, my favorite Ivory collection could be amped up even further, and that blew me away. But again, literally anytime that they come out with something, it just, oh, it blows my mind. The last thing I want to talk about today is the Sephora Little Mermaid collection. Listen, my favorite movie growing up was always Little Mermaid. That was my favorite Disney movie. I watched that movie 8,000 times. I probably still could just verbatim, you know, have it on in the background. I know I can because we've had Violet watch it and not even paying attention and able to almost word for word that entire movie. So when Sephora announced that they were coming out with these storybook collections, I needed all of it. The actual palette itself looked like a book, and it was really cool packaging. It was just beautiful. There was a mirror that I had. It had Ariel on the front, and it was like a really cool compact. It was very like heavy and it looked expansive. And then there was nail polish, and just that collection was just really cool too, because it was that same vibe as Barbie Loves Mac, where it was this character that was so near and dear to my heart and so special, and it was getting attention and it was getting a makeup collection based off of it. And so that was just something that was so special to me and so awesome to see. And I remember just being blown away and so excited by that collection. It was just so special, so cool to see that. I'm filming this early this morning, and I've been doing intermittent fasting where I can't eat or drink anything with calories until 11. It's finally 11. Paul bought me this at 10:30 and I've just been staring at it. You could hear my voice is like, ugh. Yes, that's so good. Okay, so those are my 10 collections I freaked out about. I was just so incredibly pumped about them. Tell me yours. Maybe it's not 10, maybe it's just one. Tell me a collection that you were so excited about when you learned about it. You had so much hype, you needed it, everything about it was amazing. I'd love to hear. And as always, any suggestions for these top 10 videos, even if it's not 10, 10's kind of hard to get a number to get to sometimes, please let me know. I need all the help I can get. I know you guys really like these videos. I love filming them, but my brain only works so hard. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.